But the point is, he's had the girls, he's had the fame, he's had the properties, he's been to the parties, he's had the money. How the hell are you going to, like, does he want to be, if he's worth $2.5 billion right now?
He's not.
Let's just say he's worth, well.
He's not. He's a total loser. He's almost bankrupt.
Well, okay. So you can say that, and that's fine.
In a recent debate on the PBD podcast hosted by Patrick Bet David, Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks joined the discussion, despite the ongoing efforts by Ana Kasparian to influence his views more conservatively, a shift that's unlikely to happen. Cenk is well aware that his audience leans heavily toward progressive, woke ideologies, and aligning with a red-pilled perspective, as Kasparian and Bet David advocate, would risk alienating his core supporters who expect him to maintain his long-standing liberal stance. During the heated exchange, Cenk Uygur didn't hold back, labeling Patrick Bet David, Donald Trump, and the broader right-wing movement as losers. Meanwhile, Patrick Bet David challenged Cenk's views, pushing back against his arguments and calling out what he sees as flaws in the woke narrative. The conversation escalated quickly, with sharp criticisms exchanged between both sides. Let's dive into this fiery debate from the PBD podcast on valuetainment.
When I watch a Trump and I watch some of these guys, I'm like, okay, that guy, you can win him over. Just introduce him to a couple girls. He's good. Easiest way to win guys over, right?
Yeah.
It's typically guys that don't get a lot of play, and they're not good with words. They're not good with the ladies. You know, hey, go do X, Y, Z to him, and he's going to fall for it at a bar. Boom. Hey, here's the clip we got from the room with you. Guess what? Da-da-da-da-da. Can happen to anybody, by the way, right? Okay. So girls is one of the ways of doing it. Attention is another way of doing it. Fame is another way of doing it. You know, money is another way of doing it. Guess what? Trump has had it all. He's had all the girls. One too many sometimes, okay? Some that he was single, some that he wasn't single. He's had all the money. He's been to all the parties. He's got all the letters from all the most powerful people in the world telling him how much they love him. Alec Baldwin, no one ever treated me like this. Oprah Winfrey, you know that book he wrote about all the letters that others wrote for him that now they hate him. Chuck Schumer used to love me. He used to love me when this, that, you know, that whole talk that he gave with the joke.
And he's right about that part.
Yeah, so, but the point is, he's had the girls. He's had the fame. He's had the properties. He's been to the parties. He's had the money. How the hell are you going to, like, does he want to be, if he's worth $2.5 billion right now?
He's not.
Let's just say he's worth, well.
He's not. He's a total loser. He's almost bankrupt.
Well, okay. So you can say that, and that's fine. But
you can't say he's a loser.
But
total loser.
But if you say he's bankrupt, you can say that can be your opinion. But the last 60 years, or the last 50 years proves you wrong. Okay.
It doesn't. It proves me wrong.
15 years Apprentice was number one. How the hell are you that entertaining to be number one for 15 years, right? You know, financially, real estate properties, when you think about a real estate name brand, you think about one name. You don't think about 50 different names. You think about a guy that's been able to brand himself, you think about Trump. Now, are you going to buy Trump steak? Probably not. But you're going to buy...
Neither did anyone else.
For Cenk Uygur, to label Donald Trump a loser is ironic because, in many ways, Trump is like an amplified version of Cenk. While I don't want to bash Cenk too much, as he doesn't come across as a truly terrible person, it's clear he's heavily influenced by his audience and tends to mislead them frequently. There are certainly worse individuals out there, like Whoopi Goldberg or Joy Behar. Trump, however, embodies qualities that Cenk can never replicate. He's wealthy, famous, and attracts attention from many, including those who publicly criticize him but might secretly admire his success. Trump has immense wealth, a devoted family, and lives a lifestyle many aspire to. What more could anyone want? Critics of Donald Trump often fall into a pattern like Cenk's. They criticize him as a way to cope with their own shortcomings. Whether or not Cenk is married, has a family, or the kind of success Trump has achieved is uncertain. But it's likely he envies Trump's accomplishments while dismissing them as undesirable to justify his own position. This tendency to demean Trump as unhappy, disliked, or unsuccessful is a coping mechanism for individuals like Cenk, who recognize they won't reach the level of success Trump has. It's a common response among those who resent Trump's lifestyle, a lifestyle that, deep down, many of these critics, including Cenk, wish they could attain.
Neither did but the point is, he's had great victories. He's got kids that are doing well for themselves. He's got a daughter that has done.
Biden.
Yeah, that was a different angle you took. But where I'm going with this is that's the part where I feel they can't stand the guy because they cannot control him. So for me, when I see what's going on with them wanting to get rid of this guy, and you're like, look, the big donors don't want to give him money. Look how much money he got. No, he can't raise any money. Nobody wants to give him any money. And look at this stuff. Yeah, but the people that are raising money are the people that are not being trusted because they're part of the establishment, left or right. A lot of people are saying. So this is why guys like RFK are getting some momentum. This is why guys like Vivek are getting some momentum. Because Vivek's got his own money. RFK's coming out doing some grassroots stuff. So what are your thoughts on this with Trump?
Yeah. So first of all, with Trump, look, the guy's got insatiable greed. So I don't buy that, he's had enough. He's never had enough, okay? Number two, he's a natural born loser. He's lost at everything except two things. Obviously, he won the presidency in 2016. Yeah, he lost the popular vote, but then Democrats cry about that. And they should. The Electoral College is terrible. It's a disaster. But he won the Electoral College. He won it, right? So you give him that for sure. And he's great at marketing. Just blah, 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 Trump, 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 Trump. And Democrats don't get it. They're such knuckleheads. They're like, if we have an accomplishment, we should whisper about it on NPR. No, you should scream at the top of your lungs like Trump does. But having said that, bankrupt 6 times, got clowned in 2020, and has been crying about it ever since like a little spoiled brat. Had to have his dad get him into the schools that he got into. He hides his grades from high school and college because he's a loser. He's a spoiled little baby. He blew $413 million from his dad, blew it all. Then he got $400 million from Apprentice. Why was that successful? Because of the producers. I know the producers on that show. They had to treat him like a baby. Hey, baby, come here. Baby, say this.
The same producers have done shows that flopped.
Yeah, but they were also the same producers who did other number one hits.
It is so hard to keep a number one hit show for 15 years.
But if you want to say Trump is entertaining, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He's pretty good at marketing, right? And he says these terrible things, but people laugh, right? And I get it. And
while it's true that the producers played a role, Donald Trump's success on The Apprentice was largely due to his star power and appeal. It's hard to deny that Trump has a unique charisma that drew in viewers and contributed to the show's success. Honestly, I find Cenk's comments a bit off. I don't idolize Trump or see him as a flawless figure, but I do believe he's the best candidate for this election. Cenk's take on Trump being a natural-born loser feels more like a coping mechanism than a fair critique. It's almost as if he's projecting his frustration onto Trump instead of acknowledging the qualities that resonate with Trump's supporters. What do you think? Am I missing something here? Or is this just Cenk grasping at straws? It seems pretty clear to me that dismissing Trump's success as mere luck or a fluke is a way to downplay the genuine appeal Trump has to many Americans. Let me know your thoughts. Is this just me, or is Cenk's take way off?
His giant strength that people don't talk about, and no one in mainstream media acknowledges this, he doesn't look fake. I think he's a con man, and he's been a con man his whole life. But he looks authentic because he doesn't go off a prompter. And you think, well, that's a real guy. He's saying crazy crap that nobody else would say. And all the other politicians look like actors. They're robots. They come out like Pete Buttigieg came out from a factory. Everybody knows that, right? Gavin Newsom, but also DeSantis and McConnell. They're all robots. They come in, I will do this. I have been told by my donors this is great policy, right? And so he has the feelings of authenticity. But if you look at his records, like you say, great in real estate, he's awful in real estate. In Atlantic City, he built 3 casinos. Everybody said, you're going to cannibalize it, you moron, your own business. And one of his top assistants says he just likes his name in lights. So he'd like to see Trump in Atlantic City, and he bankrupted all 3 because he sucks at business.
You think you're good in business?
Yes.
You think you're good in business?
Yes.
Cenk.
Yes.
Seriously?
100%.
Okay, so when's your birthday, by the way? What month's your birthday? Let me see.
March
30, 21st. So, okay. Yeah. You're a Pisces.
Aries, beginning of Aries.
Oh, you made it to Aries.
Yes.
Interesting. My dad's in Aries. I get along with Aries. Okay. So he's on April 10th. You're March. So you barely are in Aries, though, by 1 day, right?
Beginning of the
Interesting.
of spring.
Okay,
You made the cut, man. You made it.
So okay, bro. When you say that, for me, I feel like if there's anybody that would be like a pro-Trump kind of confusing way, it would be you. Okay, I know this is like this guy's lost his mind. You have no clue who the F I am. Are you crazy? There's no way. Because in business, do you have a perfect record with business? No. Do I have a perfect record with business? No.
Nobody does. Yeah.
Nobody does. But, has Trump taken it to certain levels that his dad didn't take it? Yeah, that's not easy to do. His dad wasn't as famous as this guy got. It's a very hard work to do that. There's a lot of kids that are spoiled kids from a rich father who don't do shit with the money, and they become crack addicts, and they become drug addicts, and they hire prostitutes all the time, and they go try to sell their laptops at different places, and they, I'm not saying about anybody specific, but this
It
happens
seems
every
like you're
once.
saying it about somebody
No, I mean,
specific.
this kind of stuff does happen every once in a while, right? There's stories like that you hear. It's like, oh, okay, this guy's going to make it. This guy's not going to make it. So there is something about him. One can say John F. Kennedy became a president because of his father, Joseph Kennedy, because okay, fine. And Joseph Kennedy became successful because his dad had all this money from. Okay, fine. Okay. There's some of it that's got to go to the credit of the individual. Perfect. So if I listened to you and I didn't know who you were, okay, and I just came to America and I've heard about this Trump guy and I've heard about the Biden guy, and I'm listening to you, I would say that guy is angry at Trump for what reason? He's either envious of Trump, he's angry with him because he sounds personal. He doesn't sound like he's being reasonable. He sounds he's being personal when he's attacking Trump. And I think he loses credibility a little bit for taking the angle that he does. Because you're coming from a place of saying this guy got this much money and he became rich because of this, and he's a loser, he's a this. The guy was on Oprah Winfrey, 1988. And Oprah Winfrey says, so hey, you sound like somebody that's going to, you've seen this, you sound like somebody that's going to run for office one day. No. Well, do you have any plans? No, but if I ever did, I would win. Who the hell says that? That's like a Babe Ruth call. When you say, I'm going to hit the home run, you point the finger and you hit it. His book crushed it. His show crushed it. He crushed it in New York going up against all these other guys. He's done good with women. He's done good with his kids. He became a president. I don't know, love him or hate him. I don't have a relationship with him. So there is not like I'm defending this guy, I'm doing it. We're in Florida because of DeSantis. We came here because all of a sudden DeSantis, I'm watching him market. I'm like, dude, you're not even out there doing your part marketing. Finally, he's getting to it, and now everybody's asking a question that they shouldn't be asking you, which is what? Why are you so down on the polls? Can you make a comeback? You should have never allowed these people to ask that question if you would have played offense earlier. But when you see a winner and complicated individual, a misunderstood individual, I don't know how many people you're going to put on the list as Trump in the history of America, by the way. Whether you love this guy or hate this guy, it's kind of tough to, demonize the guy's resume. And I know you like to do this, but it's kind of tough to do it.
Patrick Bet David is absolutely right in his assessment. Cenk Uygur seems to harbor a lot of resentment towards Donald Trump, and it's hard not to see why. Trump embodies much of what Cenk aspires to be: wealth, influence, charisma, and undeniable success in various fields, including politics. Let's not forget that Cenk himself has attempted a run for political office and fell short, while Trump not only ran but won the presidency without any prior political experience. He's achieved a level of success that Cenk has only dreamed of. Cenk is a successful businessman in his own right. The Young Turks is a well-known platform with a substantial following. However, it doesn't come close to Trump's reach or impact. Even in his political aspirations, Cenk had a fairly notable campaign, but ultimately, he didn't secure the victory. There may have been obstacles along the way, but the fact remains: Trump made it to the highest office in the land, and that's a level of success Cenk hasn't touched. It's not about idolizing Trump or disregarding Cenk's accomplishments. It's about recognizing the glaring differences in their achievements. Patrick Bet David's comments cut to the heart of the matter. Cenk's criticisms of Trump often feel rooted in envy. It's clear that Cenk is grappling with the reality that Trump has surpassed him in nearly every arena, from business to politics. Patrick Bet David nailed it when he pointed this out, and it's hard to argue with the facts.
Not remotely tough.
You think so?
So, Pat, look, I'm giving you nuanced answers. I'm telling you that he's anti-establishment in some ways,
Sure.
and that's part
Yeah.
of his appeal.
Right.
I'm telling you he's good at marketing, and almost everything you're saying is he's good at marketing. He was good on TV. He was good at marketing his book. He went on Oprah. It's marketing, marketing, marketing.
No, you said he wanted two things. And what I did is I showed his resume. That's more than two things. It's a bunch of different things that he wanted. That was my defense to you saying he only wanted two things,
Right.
not the marketing
so,
side.
Pat, imagine if your dad gave you $413 million.
Which we don't know that's the number, but
Okay.
you're saying $413
Yeah, New York
million.
Times says this was $413
Well, New York
million.
Times also said science is,
New York Times,
I have to take the
New York
COVID or
Times has
else.
also lied about me. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, but his dad was enormously wealthy.
There's
and
no
gave
question
him an
about it.
enormous
Sure.
fortune.
Yeah.
and which he lost.
413 by today's standards, or what was it back then? What was the actual?
14 million is the
okay, I
number
thought it
you
was like
hear about.
No way. It's look. I forget. I think it's by today's standards, but I'm not positive.
it
Okay,
couldn't have been 413
but it's not
back
14 to 413. That's not how inflation works. So, but Pat, if they gave it to you, you'd probably be worth $4 billion by now.
I don't know about that. I don't
Come
know.
on,
No,
it's such an enormous
Cenk,
advantage.
do you have kids? Cenk, do you have kids?
Yes.
What are you talking about, bro? Let me unpack this for you. So, one of the hardest things to do is to be the pastor's kid. Are you kidding me? Like the pastor's kid is like, so you got to be a virgin till you get married. I'm gonna go freaking smoke weed. Dude. I'm so sick and tired of this pressure. What are you gonna be this? No, I'm not, bro. I remember we're at a church. We're going to the church. The pastor's son. You ready for this? This is a pastor loved by so many people. His son gets arrested across the street from the church with a crew of players taking stuff from Best Buy. And the pastor's going to come on Sunday and preach in front of 20,000 members. So the point I'm trying to make to you is nobody wants to be Michael Jordan's kids. Nobody wants to be Brady's kid. The level of pressure and scrutiny of wanting to do that. Trust me, I understand the level of influence and additional cards and stuff that you can get. But we did a research on a generational wealth. I got kids, and I'm trying to see how do I set it up for my kids to get my wealth without them being spoiled. Okay, so it's something that's important to me. I kind of want to figure out. I'm in a community, couple families do it right, so I said, let me go on and study this to see how to do it right. Vanderbilts. Do you know how long the wealth lasted? This guy was the richest man in the world, giving money back to the country. You know how many generations money lasted? Two generations.
Usually it's always two generations.
The only wealth that lasted 7 generations, the Medici. Medici lasted 7 generations. It's the only one. Every other one is 2, 3. Rockefeller's still on 4 right now. They're not even on 5, 6, 7. So the notion when you're saying like if you would have had a head start, bro, a lot of people you give them money, they become spoiled little brats. I had a guy I interviewed who lives in Seattle. You know what his job was? He managed the Templeton family, 16 grandkids. You know what his job was? His job was, he was the guy dealing with billionaire families. And the reason why Seattle, you know why Seattle, Amazon, Microsoft, all those guys, there's all these billionaires and guys that are worth $100 million that no one knows who they are. He's worth $28 million, $148 million, $300 million.
Yes, sir.
They're kids, drug addicts. He says, my biggest job with these guys was to make sure they didn't do drugs. They didn't do alcohol. But you know what the biggest problem with me was? He says, what's that? They typically came to me too late. They came to me too late that I couldn't do anything about it. Dude, this guy's never drank alcohol. He's never done drugs. He doesn't do that. I mean, that kind of stuff to come from that amount of opportunity to screw up, dude, that's not easy to do.
6 bankruptcies. I mean, no, look, people make mistakes in business. If you're not making mistakes, you're not really a businessman. Like, there's no question. I get it, right? And I'd cut I'd cut any business person a lot of slack for, you got a bankruptcy, you got 2 bankruptcies. It happens, brother. 6? He's never had a successful business. Trump steaks, Trump water, Trump casinos. You can't name a successful business. He bought an airplane company. He put gold seats in an economy airline and immediately went bankrupt. He's terrible at business. But look, if you say it's personal, well, number one, it isn't because I'm giving you nuance on both sides, okay? But having said that, look, it got personal when he lost the election in 2020 and said, screw it, I'm going to try a coup. I'm going to do these fake electors scheme. I'm going to try to rob America of its democracy just so I can stay in power. Screw that guy. And if any of you are voting for that guy who's totally un-American, who betrayed this country, You're nuts, and he won't ever leave office. He's a wannabe dictator. He always praises dictators, whether it's Xi in China, whether it's Kim Jong-un in North Korea, Putin. He's always saying, oh, they get all the applause when they walk in. No one is allowed to disagree with them. And then freedom, my ass. He hates freedom. He wants to take away everyone's freedom so that all the power goes to him.
That statement doesn't hold much weight, especially considering Patrick Bet-David's background. Unlike Trump, who started with a significant financial boost, around $413 million, Patrick Bet-David came to America as an immigrant with nothing. Starting from ground zero instills a different kind of drive and ambition. When you're hustling just to put food on the table, the hunger and determination are on a completely different level compared to someone like Trump, who had a massive safety net from the start. Trump pursued his goals because he wanted to, and that's commendable, but the motivation isn't quite the same. Patrick Bet-David has had to be more vigorous and aggressive in his business pursuits precisely because he wasn't handed a fortune at a young age. If Patrick had been given $400 million at birth, he might not have developed the same relentless work ethic. He might have taken a more relaxed approach to life, knowing he was financially secure. To suggest that if they swapped places, Patrick Bet-David would have been more successful than Trump overlooks the different circumstances and motivations each faced. It's not just about opportunity, it's about the drive that comes from starting with nothing versus starting with everything. What are your thoughts on how Patrick Bet-David countered Cenk Uygur's comments about Trump being a loser? Of all the criticisms to make, calling Trump a loser seems completely off base. Patrick Bet-David definitely challenged Cenk's viewpoint effectively on the PBD podcast. Share your thoughts in the comments. Did Patrick Bet-David hit the mark in this debate on valuetainment? Let me know what you think about this exchange.